Welcome back, everybody. Today's deep dive is going to be pretty fascinating. We're going to be talking about sound and music,
Mm.
but not just the stuff you hear, like the way it hits you, but how it really gets into your head and messes with your brain, your body even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Most people, they just don't realize, right? It's like this massive thing that we don't even think about.
It's true. It's like all around us, but we just kind of tune it out.
Yeah,
So to really get into this, we've been looking at some research on music therapy. It's crazy how much music can like heal you, change you, you know?
for sure. Like it can totally go way beyond just being entertainment. It can actually do stuff.
Exactly. So how about we start simple? We've all got them ears, but how much do we really know about how they work?
Okay, so the ear is actually super complicated when you really get into it. It's kind of wild that something so small can do so much. Some people even say it's like a tiny version of a human embryo, like the way it's all folded up and stuff.
Whoa, really? Like
Yeah.
mini human inside our heads?
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. But think about how sensitive they are, right? Like, you can be in a loud room with tons of people talking, and you can still focus on just one conversation.
Oh, totally. Like at a party or something.
Exactly. Even the best tech out there can't really do that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's like our ears are these little super microphones. But that also means they can get messed up easily. Think of all the noise we're bombarded with every day, like the city, construction, it's got to have some effect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And sometimes our brains actually block out sounds to protect us?
Like if you live near a highway, you stop noticing it after a while.
Yeah, exactly. Our brains are smart like that. They adapt. But here's something even crazier. Hearing isn't just about our ears, taking in sounds. Our brains actually shape what we hear.
What? So it's not just sound going in one ear and out the other?
Nope. Our brains are like always filtering and changing the sounds based on our experiences, our memories, even like what we believe. There
Right.
was this study where a guy couldn't find the salt shaker, and it turned out it was because he thought he couldn't find it. Like his brain actually stopped him from seeing it.
Wait, are you serious? That's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
So our brains can shut off information even if our ears are working fine.
Yeah, it's wild. It just shows how powerful our minds are, even when it comes to sound.
Whoa, okay. So we've talked about the ears and the brain, but what about music? Like how does music actually work on our brains?
Well, it's not just about tapping your foot along, right? Music actually changes the way our brainwaves work. Some music can actually make you feel as relaxed as if you were meditating.
Really? So listening to chill music is basically like meditating.
Well, it's not exactly the same, but it can have similar effects on your brain. And remember how we talked about our brains making connections? Music does that too, but it's more connected to how we feel. Think about a song that brings back a specific memory. Like you can almost feel what you felt then.
Yeah, totally. Some songs just make you feel stuff.
Yeah,
Like they take you right back.
exactly. Okay, so we know music is powerful stuff, but how does it actually work as medicine? What is music therapy, really?
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Is it just listening to calming music?
It can be that, but it's way more than that. It's using music to help with specific problems.
So different music for different problems.
Yeah, and it can be like just listening or actively making music. It totally depends on the person.
That's cool. It's like personalized medicine, but with music.
Yeah.
But what kind of problems can music therapy actually help with?
Oh, it's actually really diverse. Speech problems, autism, addiction, even like physical stuff.
Whoa, seriously? I didn't know it could do that much. So it's not just about making people feel better emotionally, but it can actually help heal their bodies too.
Exactly. And there are all these techniques that use sound and music to make that happen. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, this is all blowing my mind. So there's all these techniques, but what about this Mozart effect thing? Doesn't that make you smarter?
Ah, yes. The Mozart effect. There's this doctor, Dr. Tom Edis, who did a lot of research on high-frequency sounds. He found that Mozart's music seemed to help with focus, creativity, and even language learning.
So Mozart is brain food.
Well, not quite that easy. Scientists argue about it all the time. Some think it's just that music makes you feel good. Others think there's something more. We're still figuring it out.
So Mozart might not turn you into a genius overnight, but it could still be good for you.
Exactly. And even if it doesn't boost your IQ, it can still be really helpful in music therapy, especially for making people feel relaxed and happy.
So chill vibes and maybe a little brain power boost on the side. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But what about all the other music out there? Does it all work the same way?
That's a great question. Different music can have different effects. Take heavy metal, for example. Some people find it super energizing, right?
For sure. Headbanging is like a workout.
But other people might find that same music stressful or even aggressive. It really depends on the person.
So one person's favorite song could be another person's nightmare.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about music. It's so personal. And that's why you need to figure out what works for you, what helps you focus, what makes you relax, what makes you want to dance.
So it's like building your own personal soundtrack for your life.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The key is to be aware of how different sounds affect you and choose music that makes you feel good.
I love that. It's not just about the music itself, it's about how it makes you feel.
Yeah,
This is so fascinating.
it really is. And it makes me think, how early does all this start? Like, when do we actually begin to hear?
That's a good question. I've always wondered about that, like those prenatal music things they sell for babies. Do those even do anything?
Actually, yeah, it's kind of wild. Our hearing develops way earlier than most people think, like even before we're born.
Wait, hold up. So babies can hear stuff when they're still in the womb.
Totally. In fact, the ear is one of the first things to fully form around week 3 of pregnancy. And get this, by week 18, the whole hearing system is pretty much ready to go. A fetus can actually hear sounds from the outside world.
Whoa, that's insane. But what do they even hear? Is it just like muffled noises? Or can they like tell things apart?
It's not just random noise. They can hear their mom's heartbeat, her voice, even some stuff from the outside world, though it's a bit quiet because of the amniotic fluid.
So they're like chilling in a sound bath 247.
Something like that. But the crazy part is all that sound actually helps their brain develop.
So those prenatal lullaby things, they might actually be doing something.
Definitely. All those sounds stimulate the baby's hearing, which is super important for development. And it's not just music, even the sounds of language start shaping their brains, getting them ready to talk later on.
So they're basically getting a head start on learning, even before they're born.
In a way, yeah. It's like building the foundation for their language and music skills.
That's wild. So what about as we get older? Does our hearing just get better and better?
It's not that simple. As kids grow up, their hearing gets more refined. They get better at recognizing different sounds, understanding language, and, developing their musical abilities. But get this, babies can actually hear tiny differences in sounds that adults can't even pick up.
What? Seriously? So babies have super hearing?
Kind of. It's called absolute pitch, and it's the ability to tell what a musical note is without any other reference. It's pretty rare in adults, but a lot of babies seem to have it naturally. But we tend to lose it as we grow up unless we keep practicing it.
Ah, that's a bummer. So we're born with these amazing abilities and then we just lose them. Is there any way to get them back?
Some researchers think if you start music training early enough, it can help you keep that ability. But even if we don't all become like Mozart, just being around music, singing, playing an instrument, or even just listening to different types of music, it helps our brains develop, how we deal with our feelings, even how we connect with other people.
It's like music is built into us from the very beginning. Okay, so we've talked about how the ear and the brain work together, how it all starts before we're even born. But I'm curious, how does sound connect to our bodies, like physically? We know music can make us want to move, but is there something more going on?
There is. Remember how we talked about the ear looking kind of like a tiny embryo? Well, some people think that's not just a coincidence. They think different parts of the ear actually correspond to different parts of the body, and that stimulating certain spots in the ear can actually have an effect on those matching body parts.
Wait, so you're saying that just listening to certain sounds could affect my physical health?
That's the thinking behind some types of sound therapy. There's this one called audio psychophonology, which uses specific kinds of music to target certain areas in the ear and brain. And some people believe it can help with things like posture, balance, even stress and anxiety.
That sounds pretty out there. Does it really work?
Well, the science is still up in the air on that one. Some studies show it works, others don't. It's definitely controversial, but there are plenty of people who say it's helped them.
Sounds like we need more research then.
Yeah.
But even if that specific stuff is debatable, I can see how sound and our bodies are connected. I mean, think about how music just makes you want to dance or tap your foot.
Exactly. That's not just you deciding to move, it's your body actually reacting to the sound. The sound waves travel through the air into our ears, and our brain turns them into signals it understands. But those vibrations, they affect our bodies too, all the way down to our cells.
So music is like a total body experience.
You could say that.
Yeah.
It affects our heart rate, breathing, muscle tension, even our hormones.
Wow. Never thought of it like that. So we know music can make us move, but can it help us heal from, like, injuries?
That's a great question, and researchers are still figuring that out. But there's some promising stuff that shows music therapy can be really helpful for people recovering from strokes, brain injuries, even chronic pain.
That's incredible. How does that even work? Is it just distracting them from the pain, or is there more to it?
It's definitely more than just distraction. Music therapy can actually help retrain the brain and even reduce inflammation. Some studies have shown that listening to music can lower your levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and that can help manage pain.
So music can be like a natural pain reliever.
It's not going to replace actual medical treatment, but it can be a really powerful addition. And it's not just about listening either. Playing music, like drumming or playing an instrument, can be really helpful for rehab.
I've heard drumming can be great for coordination.
It's true. It uses both sides of the brain, and you got to use your hands and feet together. This can help rebuild those connections in the brain and improve movement in people who have had brain injuries.
It's amazing how music can be used in so many different ways to help people. We've covered so much today, from Mozart for babies in the womb to drumming as therapy. It's crazy how big and complex the world of sound really is.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much we don't know about how it affects us. But the more we learn, the more we see how much power it has over our lives, both physically and mentally.
Okay, this has been fascinating, but before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, noise. We know it can hurt our ears, but can it also affect our health and how we feel overall?
That's a super important question, and the answer is a big yes. Noise pollution is a growing problem, and it's more than just protecting our ears.
So are we talking just loud noises? Or can even everyday sounds be bad for us?
It's kind of a sliding scale. Obviously, being around super loud noises for a long time, like concerts or construction, that can lead to hearing loss. But even those quiet, constant noises, like traffic or electronics, can be bad for you.
I live in the city, and it feels like I'm always surrounded by noise. It's exhausting.
It's not just in your head. Studies have shown that constantly hearing noise can lead to higher stress, trouble sleeping, heart problems, even trouble thinking clearly.
That's kind of scary. So even if we're not blasting music, all the noise around us could still be hurting us.
Unfortunately, yeah. We need to be more aware of it and try to reduce it.
Okay, so what can we do? I can't exactly move to a deserted island to get away from the noise.
You don't have to go that far. There's stuff you can do every day to cut down on noise and make your sound environment more peaceful.
Tell me everything. What are your best tips?
First, just pay attention to how loud things are around you. If you're using headphones, keep it down. If you're in a loud place, take breaks in quieter spots.
I'm definitely guilty of that. Sometimes I crank up the music a bit too loud.
It happens. And it's not just about outside noise. Think about the sounds you make yourself. Are you always listening to stuff like news, podcasts, music? Try to have some quiet time every day.
Like a sound diet. Just like we got to watch what we eat, we got to watch what we listen to.
Exactly. And just like healthy food is good for our bodies, healthy sounds can be good for our minds and souls.
I love that. Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it. It's not just about getting rid of all the noise. It's about choosing the sounds we want to have around us.
Right. You can explore different soundscapes, spend time in nature or listen to calming music. Even just be quiet for a bit. You might be surprised how good it feels.
It's like a reset for our ears and our minds. Well, we've covered so much today. It's amazing how our ears work, how sound affects us in such crazy ways. But before we go, I got to ask one more thing. If you could give our listeners one piece of advice about living a more sound-aware life, what would it be?
That's a good one. I'd say listen deeply. And I don't just mean with your ears, but with everything you've got. Really pay attention to the sounds around you and how they make you feel. Let the power of sound guide you. It can help you learn about yourself.
That's beautiful. Listen deeply. So simple, but so powerful. I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up.
I think so too.
So there you have it, everyone. Another deep dive done. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired to, go out and experience sound in a whole new way.
Me too. It's funny how we never really think about our hearing until we start talking about it, right?
It's true. It's not just about hearing the sounds. It's about feeling them, understanding them, connecting with the world in a different way. Thanks for joining us on this sonic adventure, everyone. We hope you enjoy the deep dive and maybe learned a thing or two about the amazing power of music and sound.